Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Startup India's session in collaboration with the Start in UP team. We just quickly want to brief you on the National Startup Awards जो इस साल होने वाले हैं हमारी तरफ से. हम बस अभी 2 मिनट और में शुरू करने वाले हैं. ओके सो आई गेस हम अभी शुरू करेंगे. आई थिंक आपको स्क्रीन पे मेरी प्रेजेंटेशन दिख रही होगी. एंड आई एम गोइंग टू स्टार्ट बाय टॉकिंग अ लिटिल बिट अबाउट स्टार्टअप इंडिया and what the initiative is, and then we're going to progress about talking the specific initiative, the National Startup Awards. So, as you know, Startup India is an initiative of the Government of India, and it was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister on 16 January 2016. So, we are completing our 5 years at the end of this week. And Startup India का role काफी simple है. What we do is we provide everything under the sun to support startups in India. We do everything and anything that is there to do to support the startup ecosystem of India to grow further. So, obviously, this is a very broad mandate. So, to narrow it further, we have three basic pillars of action. First of all, is simplification and handholding. That is, we provide simplification of regulations for startups and we provide handholding support to startups throughout the life cycle. Secondly, we provide, we liaise with different stakeholders to provide funding support and incentives for startups of the country. And lastly, and very importantly, we forge strong relationships with key stakeholders of the startup ecosystem, such as industry, academia, partnership, and incubators, along with different state governments, along with different departments in the central government, so that we can all work together to best support the startups in the country. This is a little bit of a snapshot that you will see on your screen shortly, which is detailing what the current startup ecosystem in India looks like. So currently, around 45% of the startups are from actually tier 2 and tier 3 cities, as opposed to हम सब सोचते हैं कि startup as a concept is something जो सिर्फ metro cities में available होता है, जो सिर्फ metro cities के लोग शुरू करते हैं. That is not true. Entrepreneurs इंडिया में हर जगह हैं, and आज के दिन में 45% of India के entrepreneurs छोटे शहरों से आ रहे हैं. So everybody can become an entrepreneur. Anyone can be an entrepreneur. Currently, we have more than 40,000 startups registered with Startup India. I will talk a little bit about what this registered with Startup India means in case आपको नहीं पता है. So, Startup India provides, Startup India provides a certificate of recognition which differentiates you as a startup. So, in order to be differentiated from a regular business, this piece of legal paper, it separates you from a regular business and it makes you eligible to avail all the incentives that are given out by the government for startups, be it at the central government level or a state government level. So this certificate of recognition is issued by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. That is our parent department, the department under which we work in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. And the startup recognition certificate is highly recommended for all startups operating right now. And if you want to apply to get certificate of recognition, आपको बस ये चार eligibility criteria fulfill करनी होगी जो आपके screen पे हैं अभी. So first of all, your entity type should either be a private limited company, a limited liability partnership, or a registered partnership. Secondly, you can be considered a startup only in the first 10 years since you have been incorporated. So, अगर आपकी company was incorporated in 2013, you will be considered a startup only till 2023, after which your certificate of recognition will expire. Thirdly, your company's annual turnover should not exceed rupees 100 crores in any fiscal year. And lastly, and very importantly, the nature of activity that you're engaged in should be innovative, it should improve processes and product, and it should be scalable, and very importantly, it should contribute to job creation and wealth creation for our country. So, once you're sure that you fulfill all these four criteria and you want to apply for a certificate of recognition, all you need to do is go to the Startup India website and fill an online application. So the procedure is completely online. There is a very simple online application that we have put in place. It will take you maximum 15 to 20 minutes to fill the online application, and there is not a lot of documentation required per se. We have tried to make the process as simple as possible. So you need to fill in your online application, and once you submit your application, we take around 24 to 48 hours to assess your application and come back to you with a with a decision. So your application is either approved. In case your application is approved, you get your certificate of recognition via email within 24 to 48 hours period only. And if your application is not found up to the mark, we just mark it incomplete, and we give you the reason for why we're marking it incomplete, so that you have more chances to fix your application. We rarely reject an application per se, but we always give more chances for you to improve your application. And you can always reach out to us in case you're having any difficulty, आपको कोई problem हो रही है अपना application fill करने में, so आप definitely हमें reach कर सकते हैं, and we'll be happy to help you. So ये process है certificate of recognition पाने का, and ये काफ़ी simple process है. We have tried to, everything is online and we are available all on our toll free number, जो मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगी, आगे बताऊंगी. And you can call us anytime if in case you're facing any problems with this procedure. Now, once अगर आपने एक बार ये certificate of recognition पा लिया and your entity is recognized as a startup by the central government, there are certain benefits that you're eligible for. And although there are a lot of benefits, ये जो central government की तरफ से 4 key benefits है, ये आपके screen पर अभी आपको दिख रहे हैं. First of all is government procurement. So this means whenever a central or state government or any entity associated with the central or state government buys your products or services, it's called the term is called public procurement. एंड अगर आप एक स्टार्टअप हैं, DPIT recognized startup हैं, जो गवर्नमेंट को अपना प्रोडक्ट या सर्विस you want to sell it to the government, then you are provided certain exemptions which are not available to normal businesses. So for example, prior turnover से का relaxation है completely, prior experience का relaxation है, you're not required to put down any earnest money deposit. So these are the benefits that are available by virtue of you being a DPIT recognized startup. Secondly, patent, IPR support. So patents, trademarks, copyright, industrial design, all these are different components of intellectual property rights. And we want good quality startups to be developed in India. We want startups to devote the right amount of time for research and development. And the government wants to support endeavors of research and development. So there is a reimbursement available for patent filing and trademark filing, and the government has impaneled a list of impaneled some professional facilitators from their end who can guide you through the process of filing your patent or filing your trademark. And these facilitators are available to you completely free of cost on a pro bono basis. And lastly, and most importantly, in case you file for a patent, your application is largely expedited if you are a startup as opposed to a general company. Thirdly, there are a lot of tax benefits that are available to startups. Key amongst them is the income tax exemption, 80 IAC, which implies that you are exempt for providing income tax on your business for 3 consecutive years in the first 10 years in which you're considered a startup. So the 3 consecutive years can be any 3 years, the first 3 years or the last 3 years of the 10-year period, or in the middle, sometime 3 years. So you can pick and choose that. And lastly, compliance regime. So we have tried our level best to improve compliance regime for startups, to reduce compliance cost for startups, because we understand that a lot of operational costs goes into fulfilling compliance expectations. So instead of physical inspection, startups are eligible for self-certification for six environmental laws and 3 labor laws, or 9 environmental and labor laws. So that was about the benefits that are available to you by virtue of being a DPIT recognized startup. Now we're talking about the more interesting part, that is the funding that is available to you. So the central government has put in rupees 10,000 crores in a fund of funds, which is handled by the Small Industries Development Bank of India, that is SIDBI. And SIDBI disburses this fund of funds through venture capital firms. So till now, we have SIDBI has disbursed funds to 60 venture capital firms, which in turn have invested in 384 startups at a total investment of 4,500, around 4,500 crore has been disbursed and committed. So that was about the fund of funds that is available to startups. If you are a DPIT recognized startup, apart from providing incentives to startups and providing funding to startups, there is a lot more that we do here at Startup India. So as you can see on your screen right now, there is this map of India. So just like Startup India is the central government's nodal agency for startups, every state has a dedicated nodal agency for startup as well. So for example, if we talk about Uttar Pradesh, this is the Start in UP team, which is the nodal agency for startups for UP, and their task is to formulate a unique, dedicated state startup policy and implement the state startup policy in order to support the growth of startups from the state or union territory. So currently, 30 states and union territories have their own dedicated startup policies. Now we're moving on a little outside India. Obviously, we have good relations with the different state governments within India, but we also have something called international bridges with 11 other international countries uh, um, who have a very robust startup ecosystems, which are very similar to the startup ecosystem that we have. So we facilitate a lot of exposure visits and knowledge exchange sessions. Um, we organize joint competitions, grand challenges, and we keep exploring avenues with these 11 countries so as to benefit the startups of our country as well as benefit the startups of their country. So it's a symbiotic relationship that we have going on over here. Just like we have a key stakeholder management with stakeholders such as state government and international governments, we also have strong relationships with corporates because we frequently engage with them to organize programs such as mentorship sessions, acceleration programs, innovation programs, grant challenges, etc. So on your screen are just some of the corporates that we have worked with before, and we would advise that you keep an eye open for more of the grant challenges slash innovation challenges that we keep posting with these corporates along with other programs, and obviously take advantage of these opportunities that are available and participate in these competitions or external programs as much as possible, because they are a great platform for you to get more exposure as a startup. They can be a key learning experience for you, and they can provide a much needed boost to your startup to come, to be recognized domestically and internationally as well. So apart from partnering with startups to organize programs, we also partner with some key corporates and some key startups to provide operations related services to startups such as yourself. So we understand that operational costs can be very high for running any company, and we want to help you in minimizing the operation costs as much as possible. So these are some services that we have partnered with, as you can see on your screen, and they provide basic operational services which are required to run a business, and ये आप हमारी website पे जाके avail कर सकते हैं. They offer at least a proportion or all of the services completely free of cost to our DPIT recognized startups and startups registered on our portal as well. And lastly, and most importantly, we also frequently engage in designing programs with different government departments on a central government level or, as well as on a state government level. And these programs are an amazing opportunity for you as a startup to directly contribute to India's growth story, and they provide great exposure to you in case you're developing a solution which you believe can benefit your country. We would definitely suggest that you keep an eye out for these kind of programs and participate in them as much as possible. Now, coming to obviously, we have special relationships with different stakeholders. Incubators are a key stakeholder for us, and if you have been incubated, you know how critical incubators are to any startup ecosystem. So we engage actively with incubators and host programs and provide government connection services, as well as uh, capacity development workshops, as well as targeted webinars for incubators. And this is a bit of a snapshot of what our Startup India network looks like and what is the network that we've tried to build over the years. Now, coming on to the key initiative that I wanted to talk about, the National Startup Awards. Um, the National Startup Awards are something very unique, and it's the first time a, we have a program at a national level in India to recognize startups from different sectors. So this year we are hosting the second edition of the program. The first edition was held in 2020, that was last year, and it covered around 12 sectors, wherein we recognized exceptional startups across 12 sectors, and every sector had a couple of subsectors. So there were 12 sectors and 35 subsectors which were covered, as you can see on your screen. And we received more than 1,600 applications, which was good response. But we're expecting a lot more applications this year as well. And at the end of the day, we ended up recognizing 192 finalists and 36 winners from last year's edition of the National Startup Awards. And obviously, there was some cash prize that was associated with it. But apart from the cash prize, there is this package that we developed, package of incentives, which are tailored, which are custom made for every startup which was a finalist or a winner. So, in case if you end up as a finalist or a winner, you are eligible for all the benefits that you can see on your screen right now. We took some time to connect with all our startups. We took time to understand their business model, understand what they require to grow their business further, and based on that, we provided them investor connect opportunities in case they were looking for more funding. We provided them international market access by leveraging our startup bridges that I spoke about earlier in case they were looking to expand to other countries. We pushed for regulatory reforms that could make their operations easier. We provided corporate connect opportunities in case some startups were looking at specifically being connected to some corporates to explore a symbiotic relationship, and so on and so forth. So there's like a plethora of additional benefits that are available to you if you end up as a National Startup Award finalist and winner. Apart from the great exposure that it gives you, apart from the cash prize that is involved, there's this great array of benefits that are available to you. So obviously there were many success stories of our efforts, many success stories of the winning startups. This just summarizes the two success stories out of the many which were present. But now coming on to National Startup Awards this year. So right now, call for applications is going on for National Startup Awards for 2021, and 31st January 2021 is the last date to apply. So I would urge you to check the eligibility criteria, uh, and definitely apply for it if you are eligible and if you are interested, because this is a great platform to showcase the amazing products or services that you may be developing as a startup. So as you can see on your screen, we don't only look at the funding aspect of a startup. The unique thing about this program is, apart from how well funded you are, how much profit you're making, we also look at these additional aspects, such as what is the innovation factor in your startup business model, what is the social impact that you're creating, what is the environmental impact that you're creating. Lastly, what is the economic impact? So we look at a holistic impact that a business has on the society. And this year, as opposed to last year, we have many more sectors under consideration. We have 15 total sectors and 49 subsectors. So your startup must be eligible for under one of these subsectors. You need to see which of the subsectors are a better fit for your startup, and you can apply to a maximum of two subsectors, but you will be able to win only in one subsector. So every subsector will have two runners up and one winner. Yes. So as you can see, there for every subsector that we have, there will be two runners up and one winner, and they will win 5 lakhs. The winning startup will win rupees 5 lakh. But apart from the subsectors that you had seen on your screen, in the previous slide, we also have some special categories to recognize startups which are doing well in these special categories. And this is not a special subsector that you have to apply to separately. These fields will be available on your form itself. When you're applying in a given subsector, you can choose to be considered under any of these categories that you can see on your screen. And the special thing about awards this year is that obviously we will be recognizing startups doing well in different sectors, but we will also be recognizing one winner in incubators and one winner in accelerators. So the process is completely online from start to finish, like in terms of application and application evaluation, notification, and this is a short video to of a typical application form that you can fill. So first you need to go and check, select a sector, then your subsector. Then it's going a little fast for me, but an important thing to note over here is that you need to be a DPIT recognized startup in order to apply for consideration under these National Startup Awards. So if you are not a DPIT recognized startup, do not worry. Please go and apply right now. You will receive an answer from us within 2 to 3 business days. So 12 to 48 hours, that is. So don't worry, it's not too late. Please go ahead and apply. And the application form, the details of the subsectors, everything is available on the Startup India website, that is startupindia.gov.in. Would request you to go over and explore it further. And that was about it from my end. These are our coordinates, the Startup India team's coordinates. Please feel free to drop us an email on the email ID that is flashing on your screen right now. I say this because this is something that is handled by the Startup India team by us. So we make sure that we reply at the earliest to all the queries that we receive, and we give personal attention to every query. So please feel free to write to us or connect with us on our social media platforms, or just give us a ring at the toll-free number that you can see on your screen. Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure presenting to you. I believe if there are no questions, then we can probably close this session. Please feel free to send us your questions on the email ID that I shared. And thank you so much for your time.